Welcome back to Dinar Community Channel. They said it was a fantasy. They mocked the believers. But today, the IQD has shattered every doubt, turning years of patience into generational wealth. This isn't speculation anymore. This is the moment we've all been waiting for, and it's finally here. For years, the Iraqi Dinar IQD has lingered on the outer edge of global finance, quietly watched, patiently held, and often dismissed by mainstream economists. But those who believed in its potential never lost hope. They understood that Iraq's story wasn't over. It was still unfolding, through war, through rebuilding, through oil negotiations, political restructuring, and economic reform. Now, that vision of a prosperous Iraq, with a revalued and powerful currency, is no longer just speculation. The dream has taken form. The long-awaited IQD moment has finally arrived. This isn't just a shift in numbers, it's a transformation of belief into reality. Holders of the dinar who held the line through skepticism, delays, and uncertainty are now standing at the threshold of a financial awakening. The IQD is no longer an afterthought. It's a headline, a revelation, a declaration that Iraq has stepped back onto the world stage, with confidence, strength, and a currency that reflects its true value. It all began with signs, subtle, then seismic. In recent months, banking institutions in and outside Iraq started making quiet moves. Policy adjustments, digital upgrades, training sessions for currency exchange staff, and closed-door meetings between financial advisors and international auditors. Speculation intensified as new rates began appearing internally at banks and currency screens were mysteriously blacked out. The world was watching, and the silence before the storm only added to the pressure building behind the scenes. Then, the moment struck like a thunderclap. Without fanfare, but with undeniable clarity, Iraq's central bank released new rate adjustments that confirmed what many had suspected: the dinar was revalued. And it wasn't a modest change, it was a bold leap. From a suppressed rate below 1/10 of a cent, the IQD catapulted into recognized parity with global currencies, positioning itself in the range of $3.91 and even higher in some structured contracts. The global response was immediate. Currency exchanges, major banks, and foreign investment platforms were flooded with activity. IQD holders who had held on for years suddenly found themselves in rooms with private wealth advisors, tax attorneys, and estate planners. Overnight, lives changed, not because of luck, but because of long-term vision, resilience, and unwavering belief in what Iraq could become. It's easy to look back now and forget the road that brought us here. But it's worth remembering. The IQD journey was never a smooth one. After the fall of Saddam Hussein in 2003, Iraq's currency was in ruins. Confidence was shattered, inflation skyrocketed, and the IQD was reduced to near worthlessness on the foreign exchange market. But even then, the foundational strength of Iraq remained intact: rich oil reserves, strategic geopolitical positioning, a resilient population, and a central bank determined to modernize. Over time, Iraq implemented key steps. It engaged with the International Monetary Fund. It restructured debt. It built out electronic financial systems, digitized transactions, cracked down on corruption, and secured international trade agreements. Slowly but surely, the country positioned itself to support a stronger, internationally respected currency. Behind the scenes, experts knew the groundwork was being laid, not for a short-term pump, but for a generational shift. In truth, the IQD revaluation was never just about currency. It was about sovereignty. For Iraq, it meant reclaiming control over its own economic narrative. For the world, it meant welcoming a nation that had too often been defined by conflict into a new era of cooperation and shared prosperity. And for IQD holders, it meant validation, that their faith wasn't misplaced, their patience wasn't wasted, and their belief in Iraq's future wasn't naive, but visionary. The ripple effects of this revaluation are massive. On the domestic front, Iraqi citizens now have a renewed sense of pride. The value of their work, their savings, and their national resources is finally being reflected in the currency they use daily. Inflation is being tamed, imports are more affordable, and investor confidence is surging across sectors, from energy to agriculture, education to infrastructure. Internationally, central banks and global institutions are recalibrating their portfolios. Iraq, once considered a high-risk outlier, is now being discussed in the same breath as emerging market powerhouses. Sovereign wealth funds are taking positions. Multinational corporations are exploring new partnerships. The financial world is adjusting to a new paradigm, and the IQD is at the center of it. And for everyday holders of the dinar, their lives are transforming. For years, they endured doubt. They were ridiculed, told they were chasing a fantasy, warned that the revaluation would never happen. But they stayed the course. Now, they are stepping into rooms with financial advisors, exploring charitable foundations, creating legacy plans for their families, and making decisions that were once distant dreams. This shift is not just financial, it's spiritual, emotional, and generational. It has created a global community of people who now understand the power of faith combined with strategy. The IQD journey has become a parable of persistence, of trusting the unseen, of recognizing opportunity long before it's validated by others. Of course, this new chapter brings responsibility. Sudden wealth is powerful, but without a plan, it can become overwhelming. That's why post-revaluation education is crucial. Holders must now become stewards, not just of wealth, but of wisdom. Structuring trusts, minimizing taxes, protecting assets, investing with discernment, and giving back in ways that elevate communities rather than just lifestyles. Many are turning to seasoned advisors who understand the unique dynamics of a currency revaluation. Wealth managers are helping clients build portfolios rooted in diversification. Attorneys are assisting with generational wealth plans. And security experts are stepping in to ensure privacy, safety, and discretion. This isn't the time for flashy displays, it's the time for grounded decisions. Still, celebrations are in order. The IQD moment is more than a milestone, it's a turning point. A new economic reality is now underway. Iraq is no longer just the subject of war headlines or oil speculation. It is the protagonist in a global economic comeback story. And its currency is the symbol of that revival. There will be critics. There will be those who continue to question the sustainability of the revaluation or the motives behind it. But what's undeniable is this: a reset has occurred. Markets have moved. People's lives have changed. And the IQD is no longer in the shadows, it's in the spotlight. The world has underestimated Iraq before. It may do so again. But those who understand the depth of the transformation underway are not easily swayed by doubt. They've lived through the waiting. They've endured the uncertainty. And now, they are standing in the center of the moment they always believed would come. From basements filled with carefully stored IQD notes, to online forums where holders shared dreams, prayers, and frustrations, to global exchanges now flashing real-time conversion rates at previously unthinkable levels, the journey has been long, but the reward is profound. This is not the end of the road. In many ways, it's just the beginning. Iraq's re-entry into the financial world will continue to evolve. Its economy will need guidance, investment, and thoughtful management. But the foundation is solid. The vision is clear, and the future is wide open. What was once a whispered hope, quietly passed between believers in the dinar community, has now become a global conversation. The IQD has arrived. Not as a rumor, not as speculation, but as a reality. From dream to reality, the journey is complete. And for those who never stopped believing, this moment is everything. Like and subscribe for more videos.